So, I've just realised that my sound hasn't been going. That's good, isn't it? That's great. You can't hear me for the first 2 minutes of this live stream. How handy is that? Well done, me. So what I was saying was strongholds and followers. We now have it officially in the rules as they exist now as part of the playtest 8, which is in the comment section below the description. Forgive me. God, that's flustered me. There we go. The joys of live. So anyway, so you will find that link below. And what I was saying, whilst my microphone wasn't working, is that it is a pretty solid, pretty solid rules addition that they have added to the system. Which we had a look at in our last episode, which I would highly recommend you have a look at and check out. I think it's a really solid addition and a nice traditional part of D&D being brought back to 5th edition. So what we're going to be looking at today, because we covered the bulk of the rules last episode, what we're going to look at today is the special facilities that exist and are available as part of this new Bastion system that they released as part of the Playtest Material 8. Again, link in the description below. So, now that I've recovered from the fact that my microphone wasn't working and the waffling that then ensued as I tried to recover from that, let's take a quick gander at what we've got here. So, we have a multitude of these types of special facilities. Now, what the Bastions do, just to give you a kind of a rundown, is they give you what are called Bastion points. They're a kind of in-game currency that has been added to the game in order to, as far as it seems anyway, to allow you to, where's it gone, essentially craft magic items on a kind of ongoing basis. So it's a way of kind of allowing for some downtime activities to happen even when you're out and about recruiting. Adventuring, sorry. I just looked at recruit there. By the way, my kettle has broken, which is a travesty. I've been feeling fine all day, but now that I've gone live, I'm really starting to feel these caffeine withdrawals. My brain is not quite with it. God. That is the most devastating thing when you realise you cannot make a cup of tea because your kettle. I mean, I suppose I could boil. Anyway, so we have all of these various special facilities that will allow you to generate these Bastion points, which then allow you to generate and craft some magic items, which is obviously what Wizards of the Coast consider to be the reward for such a downtime, which I think is probably fair. I think really if you're building a stronghold, you want some sort of benefit outside of gold, particularly because in 5th edition, most of the best way to spend your gold is to spend it on magic items anyway. So cut out the middleman and just have your Bastion create magic items for you. So we're going to go through these list of special facilities, which include the Arcane Study, Armory, Barracks, Garden, Library, Sanctuary, Smithy, Storehouse, Workshop, Gaming Hall, Greenhouse, Laboratory, Sacristy, Scriptorium, Stable, Teleportation Circle, Theatre, Training Area, Trophy Room, Archive, Meditation Chamber, Menagerie, Observatory, Pub, Reliquary, Demiplane, Guildhall, Sanctum, and War Room. Now, all of these have kind of default orders, it seems, but we'll go through these as we go. So, special facilities. These are so each Bastion, for those, I really would recommend you go and watch last week's episode that we did on this, just so you can really get an idea for what the rules are. But essentially, when you get a Bastion at level 5, you get 2 basic facilities, which basically don't do anything, they're just for flavour, and 2 special facilities, and you get to choose 2 of those. Special facilities are the ones that generate the Bastion points, which are then used to buy your magic items. So special facilities are presented in alphabetical order. The special facilities table list lists all of the special facilities presented in this section along with their prerequisites and orders, because some of them, you like with the Arcane Study, for example, you need to be able to use an arcane focus as a spellcasting focus before you are able to utilize an Arcane Study. So we're going to go through these over the next hour, shall we say, and see how we get on, see how far we get, and go from there. So let's start with the Arcane Study. So this is a level 5 Bastion facility, which means you can get this one as soon as you get a Bastion. It's one of the first things you can build, fulfilling that wish fulfillment of a wizard who is making things and experimenting. So, the prerequisite, as we've said, you do need to be able to use an arcane focus as a spellcasting focus. This is a roomy room, and roomy, therefore, means, when we have a look at how big a roomy room is 16 squares in total, 16 5-foot squares, that is, in total, which you can arrange and map out however you'd like. Apparently, it also comes with a hireling. And again, with the Bastion rules, you as the player get to decide who that hireling is, everything about them. It's kind of your little NPC that you get to create for yourself. And the order that you would give is to craft. Now, let's have a quick look at the order for craft. Again, hirelings in the special facilities begin crafting an item that can be made in that facility. You can also work to do the work yourself, and if you do so, the work is suspended when you leave. During the time required to craft an item, the facility can't be used to craft anything else, even if a special ability allows the facility to carry out 2 orders at once. You will get, when you're crafting, I believe that this also means that you will acquire 1d4 Bastion points towards your pool, which you will then spend later on crafting your magic item. So an Arcane Study is a place of quiet research that contains 1 or more desks and bookshelves. When you issue the craft order to this facility, choose one of the following options. You can craft an arcane focus. You commission the facility's hireling to craft an arcane focus. The work takes 7 days, which is 1 whole Bastion turn, I suppose, because you give an order to your Bastion every 7 days, and costs no money. The arcane focus remains in your Bastion until you claim it, or you can have it sold for 10 gold pieces, which is pretty cool. Or you can craft a book. You commission the facility's hireling to craft a blank book. The work takes 7 days and costs you 10 gold pieces. The book remains in your Bastion until you claim it, or you can have it sold for 25 gold pieces. Let me just consult the Book of Hands here, because I mean that's a tidy profit, I suppose, on a blank book that doesn't really do anything. I mean, not that it's particularly important, but I'm just genuinely intrigued. It's been a long time since anybody's sold a book. Okay, so you sell it for 25 gold pieces, which is the going rate for a book. Okay, fine. 25 gold pieces to sell a book, 10 gold pieces to make it. So over 7 days, you make a profit of 15 gold pieces, unless you want to claim it yourself. I mean, fine, but 15 gold pieces at level 5 is probably not a lot to be ticking away in the background, but there we are. The Arcane Study also imparts the following benefit. Cast Identify. After spending a long rest in your Bastion, you can cast Identify once within the next 7 days without expending a spell slot or using material components. So you can basically have Identify prepared kind of as a ritual, but without you having to have it prepared. Okay, cool. But I suppose you don't need to know Identify is kind of the important thing there. So that's cool, a free casting of Identify. And this is something they've talked about a lot, is this idea of going back to your Bastion is going to give you certain benefits. So it's great for things like Lost Mine of Phandelver, or even the extended version, which is Shattered Obelisk, which I would highly recommend. I actually really, really love that book. We're running through it as part of the Adventurers Guild on a Monday night, which you can join us at bardicquest.com/play. And that, if you click on, to be fair, I don't think I've updated the website. It should still be the Lost Mine of Fandelver one. If you click on that, I'll take you to Shattered Obelisk, where you can sign up. We still have 1 seat available. So that's pretty cool. Then we have a look at the Archive, which is a level 13 Bastion facility. So this means you're not going to get this, obviously, until level 13, and it's also then not going to be available to you when you first set up your Bastion. So there are no prerequisites, aside from, obviously, level 13. This is roomy, so it's 16 squares in total, comes with a hireling, and the order you would give is Research, which actually gives you 1d8 Bastion points, which I think the levels that are required for each one does actually scale. So it'll be D8 because it is a level 13 one. So the research order, hirelings in the facility gather information. You can also research yourself, but if you do so, the work's suspended when you leave until you return. So an archive is a repository of valuable books, scrolls, and maps. It is usually attached to a library behind a locked or secret door. Your archive contains 1 copy of a rare and valuable reference book chosen from the options in the reference books table. Ooh, we'll have a look at that in a second. While you and this book are in your bastion, you gain the book's benefit as noted in the table. Your DM might make other reference books available. When you issue the research order to this facility, you commission the facility's hireling to search the archive for helpful lore. The work takes 7 days. Whoever does the work gains knowledge as if they had cast the Legend Lore spell. A hireling who gains this knowledge shares it with you next time you speak with them. Now, I must admit, I am not overly familiar with the Legend Lore spell, so I'll have a look at that in a second. Because I am awful at multitasking, but I'm not familiar with that spell, funnily enough. A hireling who gains this knowledge shares it with you next time you speak with them. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these reference books. So, I really like this as an idea, because I kind of have always felt like books... I like the Elder Scrolls games where you can pick up a book off a shelf and just kind of sit and read the book, and it will give you... not necessarily any in-game mechanical benefits, but it will certainly give you a greater knowledge of the world, which is obviously what a book is for, which is self-explanatory. So the Legend Lore spell, I've just brought it up here, is a 5th level spell, casting time 10 minutes. Name or describe a person, place, or object. The spell brings to your mind a brief summary of the significant lore about the thing you named. The lore might consist of current tales, forgotten stories, or even secret lore that has never been widely known. If the thing you named isn't of legendary importance, you gain no information. Okay. The more information you already have about the thing, the more precise and detailed the information you receive is. The information you learn is accurate, but might be couched in figurative language. For example, if you have a mysterious magic axe on hand, the spell might yield this information. Woe to the evildoer whose hand touches the axe, for even the haft slices the hand of the evil ones. Only a true child of stone, lover, and beloved of Moradin may awaken the true powers of the axe, and only with the sacred word Rodnog on the lips. So it's not so I guess what they're saying there is it doesn't necessarily have to be completely objective. It can be intensified in terms of the language used. So let's have a look at some of these books then. So Bigby's Handy Arcana Ode. Hang on a moment. See what I mean about the caffeine? I'm having to get caffeine from things like Pepsi. I don't even know if Pepsi does have caffeine in. I've been led to believe it does. So, Bigby's Handy Arcana Codex. You have advantage on any intelligence arcana check you make when you take the study action, which is a new action type for 5th edition, to recall lore about spells, magic, eldritch symbols, magical traditions, and planes of existence. So, you get the benefit. While you and the book are in the Bastion, you gain the book's benefit. So you have to be in the Bastion to get that benefit, but that's pretty cool. So it allows you to kind of do some research, I suppose. So if, for example, there are some bizarre eldritch symbols that you're like, I have no idea what these mean, you've done your knowledge checks, you're not getting anywhere with those. You go, I know, let's go back to my archive in my tower, because I have Bigby's Handy Arcana Codex, and that will tell me the information I need. And then hopefully, even with the advantage, that will push things over the edge. Nice. The Chronepsis Chronicles. You have advantage on any intelligence history check you make when you take the study action to recall lore about historical events, legendary people, ancient kingdoms, past disputes, wars, and lost civilizations. The Investigations of the Inquisitive. You have advantage on any intelligence investigation check you make when you take the study action to make deductions based on clues or evidence, or to recall lore about traps, ciphers, riddles, and gadgetry. I'm really liking these. They are specific enough but broad enough. Specific enough that it's like, yeah, I can believe that is from a particular book, but also broad enough so that the book that you choose when you take your archive is still valuable. Material musings on the nature of worldly things. You have advantage on any intelligence nature check you make when you take the study action to recall lore about terrain, plants and animals, the weather, and natural cycles. And finally, the Old Faith and Other Religions. You have advantage on any intelligence religion check you make when you take the study action to recall lore about deities, rites and prayers, religious hierarchies, holy symbols, and the practices of secret cults. And also, once we've kind of settled with the books, we have this enlarging an archive. You can enlarge your archive to a vast facility by spending 2,000 gold pieces. If you do so, you gain 2 additional reference books chosen from the reference books table. Now, I really, really like this. I kind of think 5 books, it would be cooler to have some more from Wizards of the Coast, rather than just 5. Maybe let's go with 10. Something that you can at least do on a nice table with significance. A D20. Why not? Give us a D20. But look, I understand this is playtest material. First of all, they will probably include more in the final thing, and also they have said that the DM can create whatever they like. So that's cool. These are some nice examples to use, though. So that is the Arcane Study and the Archive. Now we move on to the Armory, which, for any fighter having a bastion or a stronghold, then this is certainly going to be something that they're probably going to want to have. So this is a level 5 bastion facility, no prerequisites, and it's a roomy room. So that's 16 squares in total. You get 1 hireling with it, and also you get to make the trade order, which we've not looked at the trade order today. So simply it's buying and selling goods or services stored or produced by the special facility, and that is going to give you 1d4 BP. Again, this is level 5, so that tracks. So an armory contains mannequins for displaying armor, hooks on the walls for holding shield, racks for storing weapons, and wooden chests for holding ammunition. It is often connected to or situated near a barracks. When you issue the trade order to this facility, you commission the facility's hireling to stock the armory with armor, shields, weapons, and ammunition. This equipment costs you 100 gold pieces, plus an extra 100 gold pieces for each bastion defender in your bastion. So presumably these are people that you are having guarding your bastion, and so this is also to kind of kit them out as well. If your bastion has a smithy, the total cost is halved. So I'm liking this. Some of these special facilities are kind of interacting with each other as well, which is a nice shift, a nice idea, rather than just kind of being isolated things. you have kind of thematic special facilities which are feeding into each other. Again, I'm really liking these Bastion rules. I think they're really well thought out. They've obviously put a lot of thought and effort into it. Anyway, so while your armory is stocked, your Bastion defenders are harder to kill. When any event causes you to roll dice to determine if your Bastion loses one or more defenders, see the Bastion events at the end of the document, which we haven't covered yet actually, roll a d8 in place of each d6 you would normally roll. When the event is over, the equipment in your armory is expended, regardless of how many Bastion defenders you have or how many you lost, leaving your armory depleted until you issue another trade order to the facility and pay the cost to restock. Okay. Okay, right. So, I'm not really sure why this is related to a trade order. I suppose it's buying or selling, and I suppose the idea is that you're doing the buying rather than the selling. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So you're sending your hirelings out, you're stocking up your army. Basically, I need all the equipment I can so that we can defend this bastion should the worst happen. And then that kind of sits in your armory, and then that basically is a defensive system. I like that. It's nice. It's abstract enough to be nice and simplistic, but also well thought out enough that it makes complete sense. I have no problem with abstract rules so long as they can make narrative sense and you can justify them. I know I've been getting a little bit of pushback from my thing about getting annoyed about things, character builds being able to backtrack on some decisions they've made in their builds, and me kind of being like, that's wonderful, but can you please explain to me how on earth your weapon master fighter has suddenly forgotten how to swing an axe as opposed to a greatsword? Like, those things I struggle to get my head around with the abstractions of some of the rules, but this is really, really well thought out. So obviously the armory mentioned the barracks, and that's actually the next one on here. So let's take a quick look at that. This is another level 5 bastion facility, no prerequisite. Once again, a roomy space, so 16 squares. This one doesn't actually come with any hirelings, but your order would be to recruit. So let's just revisit that order. Hirelings recruit creatures to your bastion. All right, makes sense. Although the barracks doesn't actually come with any hirelings, so that'll be interesting. Let's see. You do get 1d4 BP from carrying out that order as well. So a bastion can have more than one barracks, each of which is furnished to serve as sleeping quarters for up to 12 bastion defenders. Each time you issue the recruit order to this facility, up to 4 bastion defenders are recruited to your bastion and assigned quarters in this barracks. The recruitment costs you nothing. You can't issue the recruit order to this facility if it's fully occupied. Keep track of the number of bastion defenders housed in each of your barracks. If you lose bastion defenders, deduct them from your roster. Assign names and personalities to your bastion defenders as you see fit. You can also enlarge your barracks to a vast facility. Looking at vast. Vast facility is 36 squares. Nice. This will cost you 2,000 gold pieces, but a vast barracks can accommodate up to 25 bastion defenders. So that's more than double, which is not bad. And obviously bastion defenders are going to protect your bastion should any random events happen. Ooh, I've just seen what's next. The demiplane. The demiplane. This has got to be a fun thing to have included in your bastion. So this is a level 17 bastion facility, so this is very late stages of the game. And you do need to be able to use an arcane focus as a spellcasting focus. But this is a vast space, so it's 36 squares. I think it was 36. It doesn't come with any hirelings, but you do give it the Empower Order, which is 1d10 BP. The Empower Order, the special facility confers temporary empowerment to the player character or someone else. Let me just have a look at it. Yeah, it's 36 on the vast. Okay. Demiplane. A shadowy door appears on a flat, solid surface in one of the other facilities in your bastion. You choose the location. If you are in your bastion during a bastion turn, you can relocate this door to another facility in your bastion. The door is large enough to allow medium creatures to pass through it unhindered, and only you and your bastion hireling can open it. The door leads to a demiplane that takes the form of a room made of otherworldly materials as resilient as stone. The demiplane exists in an extra-dimensional space and therefore isn't attached physically to other locations in your bastion. Neither the demiplane nor its door can be dispelled. When you issue the Empower order to this facility, magical runes appear on the demiplane's walls, floor, and ceiling and last for 7 days. Until the runes disappear, you gain temporary hit points equal to 5 times your level after spending an entire long rest in the demiplane. Do you have to be in your bastion to do it? I guess you do. Spend a long rest in the demiplane in your bastion is kind of like feeding you magical energy to make you harder to kill, which I kind of like as an idea. Alright. So the demiplane also imparts the following benefits. So more benefits. Lovely. So Fabrication. While in the demiplane, you can use a magic action to magically create a non-magical object of your choice from nothing, causing it to appear in an unoccupied space within the demiplane. The object can be no bigger than a 5-foot cube in any dimension and must be made of wood, stone, porcelain, glass, paper, non-precious crystal, or non-precious metal. You must finish a long rest before you can perform this action again. Okay, I mean, that's kind of cool. For a flavour perspective, doesn't really provide much in the way of mechanical benefits, I guess, depending on what you conjure, I suppose. But that's very cool all the same. I just kind of like this idea of just being able to will things into existence within your own demiplane. That's very cool. Scry-proof. The demiplane and its contents can't be scryed upon using crystal balls, divination spells, or similar magic. Cool. So it's kind of like a little stronghold there, as well. Okay, cool. So basically, it is a super duper high security resting place for you. I like that. So now we have the gaming hall for you rogues out there. This is a level 9 bastion facility. It's got no prerequisite. It's a vast space, so 35 squares, and it comes with 4 hirelings, and you're ordering to trade, so buying or selling things, and it gives you 1d6 BP to your bastion points pool. A gaming hall offers recreational activities ranging from chessboards and darts to card games and dice. When you issue the trade order to this facility, you commission the facility's hirelings to turn the gaming hall into a gambling den for 7 days. At the end of the 7th day, roll percentile dice and consult the gambling den winnings table to determine your portion of the house's winnings. So basically, you've got a gaming hall, you're turning it into, you put in like a gambling event like Casino Royale. you set up your own Casino Royale, and then at the end of the 7 days, you get to make some money. 10d6 times 10 is your maximum. So we're looking at 600 gold pieces is your maximum winnings after the 7 days, which I suppose is fair. Then we have a garden. How lovely for the druids out there. Garden, a level 5 bastion facility. No prerequisites. It's roomy, so it's 16 squares. It comes with 1 hireling, and you give it the harvest order, which provides you with 1d4 BP. So the harvest order A resource is produced in the special facility and the hirelings gather it. You can also do the gathering yourself, but if you leave, it works as suspended until you return. During the time required to harvest a resource, the facility can't be used to harvest anything else, even if a special ability allows the facility to carry out 2 orders at once. So, the garden then. A bastion can have more than 1 garden. Each time you add a garden to your bastion, choose its type from the following options. A decorative garden. This aesthetically pleasing garden is full of flowers and topiaries. I don't know if that's the right word. Food garden. Delicious mushrooms and vegetables are grown here. A herb garden contains rare herbs, some of which have medicinal uses. And a poison garden. Ooh, very cool. I'd like to kind of be a rogue with a poison garden. That'd be very cool. This garden is stocked with plants and fungi from which poisons and antitoxins can be extracted. While in your bastion, you can instruct the facility's hireling to change the garden from one type to another. Now that can make sense because, and it takes 21 days, so that makes sense. This is kind of what I'm talking about being able to change your decisions. Like, they've made this make sense because, sure, like, this happens all the time in farming with the kind of rotation of the crops. You have the field that's being prepared for next season. You have the field that was used last season, so it's just kind of left to become a little bit more fertile again. And then you have the field that's being used to grow the crops. So this kind of thing happens all the time. That makes perfect sense. No issue with that. And it does take you 21 days. That's 3 weeks that you can't use your garden for if you do want to change it. This is what I'm talking about. Actions, choices, consequences. That's it. It's not about... I had somebody say that I shouldn't be punishing players because I like the choices to have consequences. It's not about punishing players. Not at all. It's about making sure that the decisions that they make have consequences and trying to make those consequences as fun as possible, rather than just being like, actually, I've changed my mind, and it comes at no cost to me. I don't mind you changing things about, like, decisions that you made, tactical decisions that you've made as a player. Like, I don't have a problem with changings, but those changes shouldn't be for nothing. They should come at a cost, as far as I'm concerned, because then that's what makes it a game. That you shouldn't then be making these choices willy-nilly. You should be considering them carefully. Then you're playing a tactical game, whether that be based on your character build or whether that be based on actual tactics and decisions in combat. That's all I'm saying, right? So this I like. You can change your mind, but it's going to take you 21 days. That's 3 bastion turns that you can't use your garden for. That's cool. I like that. When you issue the harvest order to this facility, you commission the facility's hireling to collect items of value from the garden, as noted in the garden harvest table. The work takes 7 days and costs you no money. So you get to do this every 7 days, obviously. So decorative. The garden produces either 10 exquisite floral bouquets or 10 vials of perfume. Each of these can be sold for 5 gold pieces. So that's 50 gold pieces of bouquets or perfume. Cool. The food garden produces mushrooms and vegetables that are sold to earn you 50 gold pieces. Cool, but I would have liked that to also be a way of producing a certain amount of rations. I'm a big fan of overland exploration, overland travel, and another thing that allows rations to be produced makes a lot of sense to me. I know a lot of people don't like tracking rations, but I think it's a vital part of the game. So having something that could produce those for you that you can go back and collect next time you're heading out on an adventure. It's like, yeah, okay, well, we don't need to buy rations anymore because I'm producing them for us. That's pretty cool. Also allows for a non-magical character to essentially have create food and water. A create food and water spell, essentially, without actually having it and having the limitations of utilizing their bastion that way. That's cool. That would be cool, rather. The garden, so this is for the herb. The garden produces a herbs that are used to create a potion of healing. I'm not entirely sure what they mean by this. Oh, hang on. I think that might be coming up actually, for the greenhouse, right? I've just seen it over here. Okay. Poison. The garden produces plants that are used to create either 2 vials of antitoxin or 1 vial of basic poison. And again, I think that's coming up here as well in the greenhouse. So you can enlarge your garden to a vast facility by spending 2,000 gold pieces. A vast garden is equivalent to 2 roomy gardens and can include 2 of the same type of garden or 2 different types. When you issue the harvest order to a vast garden, each component garden produces its own harvest. A vast garden gains 1 additional hireling. When you issue the harvest order to a vast garden, each component garden. Oh, right, got you. Yeah, because it's two gardens in one, essentially. Got you. Now we move on to the greenhouse, and this is where we're going back to kind of different facilities interacting with each other again. So if you've got a garden, particularly of a herb or a poison garden, then it's very sensible to get yourself a greenhouse too. So this is a level 9 facility. The garden was a level 5. Okay. This is a prerequisite non-roomy space. So 16 squares. Comes with 1 hireling. And again, it's harvest for 1d6 bastion points. A greenhouse is a spacious enclosure where rare plants and fungi are nurtured in a controlled climate. 1 plant in your greenhouse has 3 magical fruits growing on it. Any creature that eats 1 of these fruits gains the benefits of a lesser restoration spell. The fruits that aren't eaten within 24 hours of being picked lose their magic. The plant replaces all picked fruits daily at dawn, and it can't be transplanted without killing it. Any creature that eats 1 of these fruits that aren't eaten within 24 hours of being picked. Okay. So this is for when you head back to your bastion. You're like, oh, okay, I need some lesser restoration. I have a plant for that. I'm going to take one of the 3 fruits, and have that lesser restoration spell. But this is not something that you can really carry around with you for very long, because you've only got 24 hours to eat it after you've picked it. So it's not necessarily a preemptive thing, although it could be if you're close by to where you suspect you might be needing some lesser restoration. This is for close quarters and going back to your bastion for. When you issue the harvest order to this facility, choose one of the following options. Harvest healing herbs. You commission the facility's hireling to create a potion of healing, greater healing that is, made from healing herbs, or you do the work yourself. The work takes 7 days and costs nothing. Okay, so this doesn't actually interact with the garden then. I'd like them to specify whether or not this does specifically need the garden to do this. Yeah, that needs a little bit of tidying up for me, if I'm honest. Harvest poison. You commission the facility's hireling to extract 1 application of an ingested poison from rare plants or fungi, or you do the work yourself. Choose the type of poison from the following options: Midnight Tears, Pale Tincture, Torpor, or Truth Serum. See the poison sections in the Dungeon Master's Guide for each poison's effect. Once harvested, the poison can be contained in a vial. The work takes 7 days and costs nothing. I'm a little bit disappointed by this, actually. Only because I had got the impression, as you heard, that this was going to interact with the garden. And there's nothing explicitly, rules as written, that states that you need to have a garden to either harvest healing herbs or harvest poison. So I'd like to see that interaction be really explicitly stated. Because there's nothing here that's... Otherwise, I don't see a benefit to having a herb garden. Or a poison garden. It just doesn't make sense. If it's just for flavour, then why are we bothering, really? You know? So I just like to see that explicitly stated. I think that's what they're intending, but it's just not been stated, so that needs to be cleared up. My goodness me, we are running out of time already. Probably got about 15 minutes to go. Let's see how much further we can get, and see if we can plow through some of these. So the Guild Hall, this is a level 17 Bastion facility, and you do need to have expertise in a skill of some kind. It's vast in size, at 35 squares, no hirelings, and you get the recruit order to bring more people in, and you get the benefits of 1d10 Bastion points, which is very nice indeed. So, a Guild Hall comes with a guild, for which you are the guild master. Choose the type of guild from the options in the sample guilds table, or work with your DM to create a new guild. The facility is a meeting room where members of your guild can discuss important matters in your presence. Wall banners depict the guild's symbol. Your guild has roughly 50 members made up of skilled folk who live and work outside your bastion, usually in nearby settlements. Each time you issue the recruit order to this facility, you commission one or more members of your guild to perform a special assignment. Each guild in the sample guilds table specifies the nature of that assignment. With your DM's permission and help, you can create new assignments for guild members to complete. So, here we have some sample guilds and their assignments. Okay, so the Adventurers Guild. Hey, the Adventurers Guild. The symbol is a lich torch, and for the assignment, you send adventurers to track down a beast that has a challenge rating of 2 or lower and is known to lair within 50 miles of your bastion. The adventurers slay or capture the creature, your choice, in 1d6 plus 1 days. If the creature is slain and your bastion has a trophy room, you can add a trophy taken from the creature to that facility. If the creature is captured and your bastion has a menagerie, you can add the creature to that facility, provided the facility has the space to house it. So, basically, adventurers, I want a trophy on my wall. Go and get it for me. Or, adventurers, I want a new monster to show off. Is it specifically a beast? A beast. Okay, I want a new animal to show off in the fighting pits. Go acquire one for me. That's pretty cool. So then we have the Bakers Guild, whose symbol is a pastry. You assign bakers to create baked goods for a prestigious event that occurs within the next 5 days. You can receive payment in coin or in the form of a favour owed to you by the event's host, the details of which are left to you and your DM. Cool. 500 gold pieces or a favour from somebody of your choosing, it seems, which is very cool. The Brewers Guild symbol is a foaming mug. You assign brewers to deliver 50 40-gallon barrels of ale to your bastion in 7 days. You can sell the barrels of ale for 10 gold pieces apiece. So that's 500 gold. Seeing a theme here. Alright. The Cartographers Guild, a sextant for the symbol. You assign cartographers to draw a map in 7 days. Alternatively, you can pay them 500 gold pieces to procure a map of a known adventure location and to deliver it to your bastion in 7 days if the DM agrees that such a map exists. Cool. Give me a map. Nice. The Entertainers Guild, with a silver lyre? Not sure if that's an I or an L. Not familiar with that word, I must admit. Probably a musical instrument of some kind. You assign entertainers to create a work of art, such as a painting, a play, a ballad, a symphony, or a statue in 7 days. The work gains recognition and high praise, but has no monetary value. I take issue with this. No monetary value indeed. As a creative, as a professional creative, I am appalled. The DM can decide that the work accrues value after your death. Oh, lovely. I understand, though. I understand. I don't really understand, though, why you would have an Entertainers Guild, because it basically does nothing. So I don't know why you would choose an Entertainers Guild. I like it. I like the fact that it's there, but I feel as though there should be some benefit, because unless you know your character's going to die, but then also... Oh, let's not go into that. The Jewelers Guild, a golden ring for their symbol. You assign jewelers to craft a gemstone or piece of jewelry worth no more than 1,000 gold pieces. The work takes 7 days, and you must pay half the item's cost in raw materials. Okay, cool. And then presumably sell it on. Okay. Mason's Guild, a stone mask. You assign masons to add a defensive wall to your bastion at no cost to you. Alternatively, you can have the masons perform this work for another player's character's bastion, provided their bastion is within 1 mile of yours. Each 5-foot square of defensive wall takes 1 day to build instead of 10. Nice. The Shipbuilders Guild with crossed oars. You assign shipbuilders to build one of the vehicles in the waterborne vehicles table of the player's handbook. You pay the full cost of the vehicle, and the work takes 1 day per 1,000 gold pieces of the vehicle's cost. A rowing boat can be made in a single day. And then finally, the Thieves Guild, whose symbol is a white key. You assign thieves to infiltrate a location within 50 miles of your bastion and steal a non-magical object from it. The object can be no bigger than a 5-foot cube and is delivered to your bastion in 1d6 plus 1 days. A white key is left in its place. The DM may decide that this activity leaves you at risk of retaliation from law enforcement or the victim. Cool, I kind of like this as a nice little idea. Yeah, I need this non-magical object. Can you go get it for me? Makes it a nice and simple way of getting that. I wonder if... No, that would be too strong. I was going to say, it would be cool if you could try and get a heist organised so that you can steal some magic items at a really significant cost. But I don't think that would really... That would be a bit too generous, I think. Excuse me. Okay. God, this lack of caffeine is really hitting me hard. Alright, we got 10 minutes. I reckon we can probably do the laboratory here. And possibly the library as well. So, the laboratory, a level 9 bastion facility. No prerequisites. It's a roomy space with 1 hireling and gives you the craft order for 1d6 bastion points that you would gain for your bastion point pool. A laboratory contains storage space for alchemical supplies and workspaces for crafting potions and other concoctions. When you issue the craft order to this facility, choose one of the following options. Craft a liquid concoction. You commission the facility's hireling to craft a vial of acid, a flask of alchemist fire, or a bottle of ink. This work takes 7 days and costs you half the item's normal cost. Craft a poison. You commission the facility's hireling to craft a vial of basic poison, or a vial containing 1 application of a rare poison. The rare poison must be one of the following: burnt othor fumes, carrion crawler mucus, essence of ether, or malice. This work takes 7 days, and you must pay the poison's cost. See the Dungeon Master's Guide for descriptions and costs. Or craft a potion. You commission the facility's hireling to craft a magic potion, as described in the Dungeon Master's Guide, or you craft it yourself if you have the ability to use a spellcasting focus. The work takes 7 days. The craft potion table shows the minimum level one must be to craft a potion of a particular rarity, and the cost you must pay for the supplies. For the purposes of crafting potions, your hireling's level is half your level, rounded up. Cool, nice and simple. Again, just a nice way of you being able to craft some potions without having to be involved in downtime. Which is a lot of what this Bastion rules set is for, is just to allow you to interact with downtime a little bit more regularly without the need to actually take time off from your adventures, which I think is welcome. I do actually really like the downtime rules. It's just you don't get much opportunity to use them very, very often, because I think a lot of people like to roleplay things out rather than necessarily having just actual downtime procedure in place. So it's a nice addition. All right, let's look at the library. So this is a level 5 Bastion facility, so that's available as soon as you get your Bastion. No prerequisites, a roomy space, gives you 1 hireling, and you get to use the research order for 1, which gives you 1d4 Bastion points, which goes into that pool. Again, you can have a look at our previous episodes to kind of work out what Bastion points are for. This library contains a collection of books, plus 1 or more desks and reading chairs. When you issue the research order to this facility, you commission the facility's hireling to research a topic, or you do the research yourself. The topic can be a legend, a known event or location, a person of significance, a type of creature, or a famous object. The work takes 7 days. When the research concludes, you obtain up to 3 accurate pieces of information about the topic that were previously unknown to you. The DM determines what information you learn. I really like this. This is kind of like Uber research. Hi there, speaking of anime. Thanks for that comment. I'll just see that crop up in the chat. New to your campaign and yet to catch up, but got to say Johan reminds me somewhat of Rimmer from Red Dwarf. Which is, I think, actually very, very accurate. And I hope Ollie doesn't mind me for saying that. I completely agree with you, actually, there, speaking of anime. I think that's completely accurate. I'm sure he'll be very grateful for that. I shall let him know when I speak to him next if he hasn't seen this already. Yeah, completely agree. So I like this idea of the library, just kind of like Uber research time. Good stuff. And yeah, I mean, I always lean into knowledge-based stuff in my games because I like the exploration aspect of D&D and that kind of world-building side from a DM's perspective, and from a player's perspective, kind of discovering these things. So this sort of thing with the library is right up my street. We've got a few more minutes, so let's keep going. The meditation chamber, which whenever I think of a meditation chamber, I think of Darth Vader's pod on the Super Star Destroyer. So I would be a fan of this, just as a fan of Star Wars and that little meditation chamber Darth Vader has. So this is a level 13 Bastion facility. No prerequisite. It's a cramped space, so it's very small. I think that's 4 squares. So what's that? A 20-foot area. You get no hirelings for it, and you do get the Empower Order, which is going to give you some benefits. And also, of course, 1d8 Bastion points for your Bastion point pool. A meditation chamber is a relaxing space that helps align one's mind, body, and spirit. When you issue the Empower Order to this facility, you enable all your Bastion's hirelings to use the meditation chamber to gain a measure of inner peace. Oh, that's nice. You can immediately issue a Bastion Order to one of your Bastion's other special facilities, even if that facility has already been issued an order on this Bastion's turn. That's pretty cool. So this is one of those ones that allows you to issue multiple orders. The meditation chamber also imparts the following benefit. Fortify Self. You can meditate in this facility over a period of 7 days to fortify your mind, body, and spirit. If you leave the Bastion during this time, you gain no benefit. Otherwise, at the end of the 7th day, you gain advantage on 2 kinds of saving throws for the next 7 days, chosen randomly from the Fortified Saves table. Well, this is pretty generous, I actually think. Well, level 13, though, it's probably not too generous. 2 saving throws which you get advantage of for the next 7 days. And it doesn't seem to suggest to me that once you've used that advantage, that's then used, you have that advantage for the next 7 days, period, which is very cool. So obviously, the usual saving throws. I really like that. Alrighty, let's look at the Menagerie and then I think we'll wrap up and see, because we are only halfway through this. There is a lot in this new Bastion rule set, so we'll come back to these. So Menagerie, level 13 Bastion facility, no prerequisite. It's a vast space, comes with 2 hirelings, and you're going to use it to recruit people to the Bastion, and you also get 1d8 Bastion points for your Bastion point pool. A menagerie keeps various creatures in enclosures. Multiple creatures can be contained in the same enclosure if those creatures would get along normally. I like that. Nice touch. When you issue the recruit order to this facility, you commission the facility's hirelings to add a creature from the Menagerie creatures table to your menagerie. The recruitment takes 7 days and costs you the amount listed in the table. The hireling makes sure the creature is properly looked after. The menagerie is big enough to contain 4 large creatures. 4 small or medium creatures occupy the same amount of space as 1 large creature. Okay, so that means 16 small or medium creatures. Keep track of the creatures housed in your menagerie as they count as bastion defenders. Okay, I was wondering what the point of the menagerie is. Essentially, it's for monsters to protect your. It's instead of a barracks. I kind of like this for a druid, although I can't imagine a druid allowing creatures to be in captivity, shall we say. But there we are. It's a little bit more on theme, though. Certainly more on theme than a druid having a barracks. Deduct any you lose from your Bastion Defender roster. You can choose not to count one or more of these creatures as Bastion Defenders, in which case they can't be called on to defend the Bastion. Instead, they act in accordance with their nature and use their stat blocks in the monster manual. Okay, so you get a choice. So you don't have to send all of your creatures into battle. The DM's option, here's the table here, by the way, of the different creatures you can have and how much they cost if you wanted to acquire them that way. At the DM's option, you can add different creatures than those shown above to your menagerie. The cost of a creature depends on its challenge rating, as shown on the menagerie creatures by challenge rating table. Only beasts and some monstrosities with the DM's approval can be kept in a menagerie. Okay, cool. Alright, so we've been going for about an hour, minus my microphone gaff at the beginning. So we are still only halfway through this playtest material, which the Bastion stuff goes all the way up to page 21, and we are only at page 13, so we're just past the halfway point on these Bastion rules. So I think we'll do another live stream on Friday to finish off the Bastion special facilities, and if we have time we'll have a look at basically how you defend your Bastion and the Bastion events and how they might be used story wise, and we'll cover that either then or on another episode as well. But there's a lot to unpack here. I'm really liking. I mean, look, there are. Let's be honest here. The number of facilities that you can have is. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. 29 different facilities that you can build, and you get 2 when you start, and then you only get I can't quite remember how many it is, but I can't imagine you're going to get more than 6 or 8. So you really are going to be able to make this your own, which I really, really like. And all of these things do seem to be either thematically accurate and appropriate, or just mechanically very advantageous, again, for an opportunity to utilize some of the things that are available to you in downtime without you having to necessarily take time off from adventuring. I'm really, really liking these Bastion rules. Again, aside from a few issues I have with some choices that they've made, but I'm really liking how the ones that are thematically tied, such as the barracks and the armory, for example, I'm really liking how those are kind of starting to interact a little bit. I think this is just really clever. Somebody did mention in the comments of the last video that this is ripe for the pickings from Hasbro when they launch their VTT to sell you some cosmetics for your Bastion, and
I can fully see a kind of Sims style Bastion builder in the VTT. And you know what? I think actually, if they start releasing things like that in the VTT, I can really see that being appealing. I'm not a huge fan, I must admit. I'm not a huge fan of Hasbro's plans with the VTT, because it seems. I mean, the cynic in me is kind of going, yeah, I can see where they're going with with that. But you know what? There'll be little things like that that are going to entice people in, and I think it will work. I think it will work. But I like things the old school way a little bit more. I don't want D&D to turn into a video game ultimately, because there are video games for that. If you want an RPG video game, there are videos for that. All right then. Well, that's going to be me for today, and I will catch you on Friday for another episode, and we'll do another stream and look at the remaining Bastion options that are open and available to us all as part of the playtest material. Let me know what you think so far. I've left a link as well to the remainder of the playtest material in the episode description. So let me know what you think in the comments. We've been having some nice debates, and we'll look at the remaining specialist facilities on Friday. So that is it from me this episode. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon if you have enjoyed this video, and of course be sure to give that like button a nice smash as well, because it really does help to appease the algorithm gods over at YouTube and put the show out in front, and the channel out in front of everybody else. If you've also only just joined and found this channel through Arcana Unearthed, the main aspect of this channel is actually our actual play, Bardic Quest, the main show, which is really kicking off. We just hit 2 years and episode 100 around the same time as well, so do check that out. And give that a watch. Hopefully you will enjoy it, and you can find out what Speaking of Anime was talking about when he talks of Johan, or he or she talks of Johan, reminding them of Rimmer from Red Dwarf, which I completely concur with. So that is going to be me, and enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you on Friday.